First, we will install create React app globally. Notice the -G flag, which stands for global. Next, we will create a fresh React app by invoking the create React app script and passing it the name of our app. In our case, we're calling it hello now. Next, we will move into our app directory and start it up. All right, it looks like everything is working just fine. All right, now let's build out our server. We'll install 3 libraries: Express, Express Basic Auth, and Compression. Note that we're passing the save flag here. We'll create a directory for our server files to live in. Then we'll create our index file and open it up. First, we'll define the port for our server to listen on. Then we'll require those 3 dependencies from earlier and assign them variables. Next, we'll create a new Express app. We'll set up that new Express app to use 3 middlewares: a basic auth middleware, middleware for gzipping our payload so our site is fast, and a middleware to serve our static assets like JavaScript or CSS files. Then we'll create what's called a catch-all route, which simply tells our app to serve our React app to all routes which aren't static files. Lastly, we'll have our app listen on port 4000, binding to the address 0000. Binding to this address is important in exposing our app via Docker, which we'll see later. Oh, and I forgot to configure our app to challenge the user for their email and password. Now let's take our newly created server for a spin. First, build a React app and then run the Express server like so. Now let's create our Docker image. I'll create a new file named Dockerfile and also create a file named .dockerignore. I'll base my image off of Alpine with Node 9 baked in. I'll set the environment to production. I'll make a home for our app files to live, then I'll move into that directory. I'll copy in our package files, then run npm install. Next, I'll copy the rest of the React app into the image. I'll build the app. Next, I'll indicate to Docker that we have a server running on port 4000 using the expose directive. And then I'll finish by running the server using the command directive. Next, I'll add the Git and node modules directories so Docker ignores them. Let's build our Docker image by invoking docker build. The dot tells Docker to build using the Docker file in the current directory. Next, we'll start up the Docker image by invoking docker run and passing it the tag of the image we just created. We'll be sure to bind the server listing on port 4000 from within the container to port 4000 on the host machine. We can invoke docker ps and verify that our container is indeed running. Next, we'll invoke now's command line interface to deploy our app by simply typing now. You can install now's CLI by running npm install -g now. You'll notice that now has given our app its own unique URL and has begun building and running our Docker image in the cloud. Okay, our app looks to be done deploying. Let's visit our app in the browser. And there you have it.